Hi, I'm Dr. Barto. I'm going to show you tonight how I'm making a creamy squash soup. This is one of the recipes from our 90-day lifestyle program, our Eat Well, Move Well, Think Well. A lot of times people think they don't have the time to eat healthy. We live really busy lives, but I just wanted to show you how real easy it is to make a healthy meal that your entire family is going to love. So this here is I'm doing a butternut squash soup tonight. So what I've already done is I've taken a butternut squash, I cut it in half, scooped the seeds out, and then I roasted it in the oven for an hour at 350 degrees. So that is already been cooked and softened. And then what we need to do at that point is take 3/4 of a cup of chicken stock, put that in the blender, and then scoop out the roasted butternut squash. So I've already gotten one done. I'm going to do the other right now. So you can see after the squash has been cooked, it's nice and it's soft, and it'll just scoop right out. I know I've been in grocery stores and people have asked me before, how do you even prepare a squash? And it's really simple. You just need to scoop the center out and roast it at 350 for about an hour until it's soft. And so you just scoop everything out. I roasted it cut side down and then turned it over. You want to be careful. You can see maybe in the video that it's very, very hot. The steam is coming off of it. Just scoop it out. And put it right into the blender. So the blender has one butternut squash cooked in it and 3/4 of a cup of chicken stock. And then we just blend it together. We'll see how the blender turns out here with the camera running the microphone. Make sure that's in there. What we want to do is just blend this until it's nice and smooth. Check it. You might want to put some more. It's going to be, you never know how big your squash is, so you might need to add a little bit more chicken stock to it. It's not really a big deal. I think for mine I'm going to add a little bit more in, because what I'm looking for is a real creamy and smooth consistency. I think that's fine. Okay, that's ready to go. And then what we want to do, we just set that aside in a medium saucepan. What we want to do is melt a tablespoon of butter. So I've got that right here. A tablespoon of butter in there. Turn this on to like a medium heat. And once the butter is melted, then we want to add in our seasonings. I've already measured those out. The seasonings are a tablespoon, so I put a tablespoon of organic butter in there. I need a tablespoon of a whole grain flour, half a teaspoon of, since this is pumpkin or butternut squash, I'm going to put in a half a teaspoon of pumpkin pie spice, 1/8 of a teaspoon of salt, make that melt, and then just a dash of pepper. So those are the first things I'm going to put in here. So again, I am melting my tablespoon of butter. Once that's melted, I'm adding in a tablespoon of flour, half a teaspoon of pumpkin pie spice, 1/8 of a teaspoon of salt, and I didn't put any pepper in, so I'll just put in just some pepper, just to taste, whatever your family prefers. Okay. Once I got that in, I'm going to add 1 cup of almond milk. So this is an unsweetened, unflavored, plain almond milk. There's a couple variations for the recipe. I'll include those in the notes. but really we just want to put this in, stir it until this mixture starts to thicken and it's a little bit bubbly. Just some other things that we can do. And so there's a couple of variations. This is a creamy squash soup using butternut squash, but you can substitute any other vegetable or spice in place of the squash and the pumpkin pie spice. You can do potatoes and dill, broccoli and thyme, cauliflower and curry, or asparagus and nutmeg. Those are all some variations. Change it up. See what it is that your family likes. Okay, after I added the grain, the flour, the pumpkin pie spice, the salt, the pepper, and added the almond, I let this cook until it started to get thick and bubbly. That was about 2 or 3 minutes it cooked. After that, we're ready to add in the vegetable puree. So whatever vegetable puree you had decided with, we did pumpkin or butternut squash tonight with pumpkin pie spice. So I'm adding that, just scooping it out of the blender, adding this in. Now if you remember, what I added in here was a whole butternut squash, and I added in 3/4 of a cup of chicken broth. I thought it was a little bit thin or thick, so I wanted to thin it out in the blender. So what I had done as a total was a 1.5 cups of chicken broth. I took some of the 3/4 that I had setting aside. I've already added those in to thicken the butternut squash as I was blending it. So I have what was left of that remaining 3/4 of a cup. We add that at this time here. Just stir it all in. Just stir it well. And once it's heated through, your soup is ready. So that after I spent an hour, so what happened here is I spent an hour that I could leave it and forget it. The butternut squash was in the oven, but I didn't have to worry about it. After an hour, took the butternut squash out, blended that with 1/3 of a cup of chicken stock, let that sit, and in the pot what I did was a tablespoon of butter, a tablespoon of flour, 1/2 teaspoon of pumpkin pie spice, 1/8 teaspoon of salt, and just a dash of pepper. Mix that in with a cup of almond milk. I cooked that for about 3 minutes until it got a little bit thick and a little bit bubbly. At that point, I added in my vegetable mixture, put that in with the remaining 3/4 of a cup of chicken stock, heated it until it was warm, and now it is ready to serve. So if I get a bowl out, you can see our finished product. So it's nice and it's creamy. And once it cools just a little bit, it'll be ready to eat and enjoy. So that was dinner for our family tonight. We made this homemade creamy squash soup that took, beyond the hour to prep. The squash that I could spend time with my family, leave it and forget it. After that, I had dinner ready in about 20 minutes. So it doesn't take a lot of time to make a home-cooked, healthy meal for your family that I promise your entire family is going to enjoy. So check out the notes below on the recipe and give it a try. It's super easy and your family's going to love it. So thank you, and I'll can't wait to do the next video for you.